What's going on, y'all? Your boy Darius here, back again with another video. And this time I am here with my review for Avatar: The Last Airbender, the live-action television series on the Netflix. Right? Yeah, it dropped today. I thought it was dropping tomorrow, but it dropped today. All 8 episodes. I'm gonna do my episode by episode review because I think it's pretty important to talk about these episodes individually and the differences and the similarities, all that stuff by the episode. Because this first episode had quite a lot of stuff different, man. So I'm gonna give my review for just this episode only. There's going to be spoilers, I guess, because it's kind of hard to talk about this without spoiling stuff. And if you've seen the show, the original cartoon, then stuff. But there will be spoilers in here, so be warned. Yeah, this show is a very important one for me because growing up, the cartoon was coming out, right? I was like a little kid and coming home from school, watching some Avatar. It was my life, right? It was my life. And I just recently rewatched book one for the first time in it's been some years since I watched like the first book, even like the second and third ones too. I've started hitting the second book as well, but a lot of this stuff from book one is fresh in my mind, man. So this is going to be an interesting experience. Before I get to the video though, do me a huge favor, man. Hit that subscribe button, alright? I'm on the road now to 500 subscribers. I successfully hit that 400 goal thanks to you guys. And I hope that you guys can help me get to 500, man. Helps me get to a monetization status, of course, with like memberships and I think supers as well. I already have some ideas for what I could do with some members only content. So help me get to 500. Would greatly appreciate it. Also make sure to hit that thumbs up button, man. It helps out the video immensely. Gives me validation as well that I'm doing something right on this platform. And also hit the notification bell so you know every time I upload a new review of Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now, I'm going to try to just structure my thoughts here. I took down some notes in my phone, right? I'm trying to structure the notes, structure this review in a way that makes sense, that I'm not just rambling, right? I'm trying my best not to ramble like I'm doing right now. So the first thing I feel like I should talk about is the cast, right? I don't have the list of like the actors' names up here, but like the cast in terms of what we got so far in this episode. We got obviously Aang, Sokka, Katara, we got Zuko, Iroh, who else did we get? We got Gran, we got Monkey Atsu. Like we got, some pretty substantial characters in this first episode. And I think the casting just off of look, 10 out of 10, right? Like way better than the M. Night Shyamalan movie. I'm gonna bring that up a lot, so just be warned. The acting wise, look, they're kid actors. At least for like the core, I guess 4 if you count Zuko, right? They're kid actors, so like you can only expect so much from them. And it's obvious, like they're kid actors. Especially like Katara, a little bit. I'm just kind of like, okay, it's kid actor. It's cool, Hopefully we see her grow into the role more with each episode. But Aang, I think he encapsulates. Speak English, please. Encapsulates, the essence of Aang, and Sokka does too. Sokka sounds quite a bit like his actor sounds quite a bit like Sokka, and he looks enough like him too. Zuko, there's some scenes with Zuko's actor where when he's talking, I'm just like, okay, that really sounds like Zuko. Like it sounds like he might be doing a Zuko impression, but like there are definite times where I hear Zuko's original voice actor. It's pretty fun. But yeah, so this first episode, basically, the plot of it essentially takes the first episode, right? It towards the end has parts of I want to say it was the second episode in it as well. It was an hour-long episode altogether. They do the whole thing where they find Aang, then Zuko comes along, takes him prisoner. They do all that stuff, but what's interesting is how they started. They started by showing us, number one, we get to see Fire Lord Sozin, right? Like in the original series, we didn't see him until book 3, right? In the flashbacks, but we see like the first shot, the first scene of the show is the moment where the Fire Nation declares war on the Earth Kingdom. And like there's like this messenger who's trying to like escape the Fire Nation and get to the Earth King so like he can tell, hey, a war is coming, right? And he gets caught. And it was all part of this elaborate plan where like Sozin wanted everyone to know that it was happening. And obviously, if you recall, in the original show, we learned that Sozin started the war because of the Avatar. Like, once Roku was dead, he was like, okay, the next Avatar is going to be in the air nomad, so we got to get rid of him, right? So I thought it was a pretty interesting idea to show us like the beginning, how everything began, right? Essentially, or at least like the beginning stages of everything. The intro, they pretty much do the intro, but not with the same words and stuff. They don't do that until until we get to Gran in the Southern Water Tribe. Like, she legit, I think I put it in quotes here. I said in quotes right here, or not in quotes, in all caps. Gran said the intro. Like, she said it verbatim long ago, fired, she said all the elements long ago, blah, 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 blah. Everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Like that really got me. So it was nice to hear that. There were definitely a lot of changes made, and you kind of feel them, you see them very early on. Another like addition that they put in here is showing us what Aang's life was like with the air nomads, like pretty early on. Like, after they show us, Sozin and everything, they go straight to 100 years ago where Aang's with, Monkey Yatsu and all the other air nomads and stuff. And it was an interesting, like, I really like that. Like, there's some changes in here that kind of bugged me, but I feel like the additions, like, what the show so far in the first episode, what I enjoyed more were the additions rather than the subtractions. Getting to see Monkey Yatsu, seeing all the bisons, man, like all the sky bisons fly in and stuff, and we get to see that, like, they were gonna have this big festival because the comet was arriving. One of the big differences that they do that I didn't really like was when Aang learned that he's the Avatar, right? In the original show, the monks, like the council of monks, are like, okay, we're gonna take him away and ship him off to the other air temple. I think it was the Eastern, maybe. So we're gonna send him there because Gyatso, your relationship with him is gonna hinder him in growing to be the Avatar, right? And Aang overhears that, and then it gets him to like run away. He's like, I don't want to, like, not only does he not want to deal with the pressures of being an Avatar, he just wants to be a little kid because he's 12. The Avatar usually learns when they're the Avatar when they're like 16, but because of the war, he had to learn early. And the original cartoon is just like, I don't want to be taken away from Gyatso. I don't want to deal with this. I'm out. Peace. That doesn't happen in this. He learns he's the Avatar, and like he's dealing with it, coming to terms with it, and then at night he's just like, well, Appa, let's go and fly. It'll help clear my head. And that's how he goes and gets lost in the storm. And then we see the Fire Nation attack. Now, more on that in a little bit. I didn't really like the idea that he doesn't decide to run away. He just decides to go and, clear his head off in the skies, right? Because I thought that in the original cartoon, him consciously, being like, I'm out of here, I'm leaving, I'm running away, I feel like it contributed more to his guilt upon finding out what happened to the air nomads, that I abandoned them, I ran away, right? As opposed to, oh, I just kind of, went for a walk and I came back and they're all dead. Like, obviously you would feel bad about that, but you wouldn't really feel like I abandoned them. Nah, I just went for a walk in the night, basically, came back, they were dead. It sucks, but like, it's not my fault, right? Like, it's more his fault that he just ran away. He consciously ran away. So I didn't really like that change, but showing that regardless, after he leaves, then the Fire Nation like literally attacks. Like, the moment that he's gone, the Fire Nation attacks, and we get to see it. It's like full-on Order 66 style. I very much like that. Like, it was messed up, and like the violence of the bending, which I should touch on the bending. It's pretty brutal, especially with, like, the fire bending. Like, dude, we see in the beginning, Sozin just lights a man on fire and burns him. All right, it happens again with the Fire Nation attack and the air nomads. Like, the bending, I remember hearing that this show is going to be considerably darker than the original cartoon, and I see it immediately. I'm like, bro, the firebenders, they make them evil in how they like take people out with firebending. Like, you think in your mind back to the show, right? Fire Nation people, firebenders killing people. You just think, yeah, they just like threw a fire blast at them, dead. No. They were engulfing people in flames and burning them to ash, looking like Anakin Skywalker from Episode 3. It's crazy. There was legitimately like an Order 66, like Anakin about to kill the younglings scene where like Monkey Yatsu's protecting the youngling monks. Fire Nation dude comes in. I'm just like, oh, I've seen this movie before. It's called Episode 3. What are we going to do, Master Skywalker? Monkey Yatsu. It's too many of them. The bending in general, I have to say, 10 times leagues above the bending in the M. Night Shyamalan movie. My God, like there was so much movement before anything happened. Like I'll never forget the one scene, with the Fire, Nation at like the Earth Kingdom camp. Like I think it was like, what's his name? Haru's camp or whatever. Where like there's a campfire, Fire Nation dude comes in, does all this, and then all the fire comes out. Nah, bro, you don't need to do all that. Just throw a fire blast. Like, it was so ridiculous, especially because fire bending, if I recall correctly, in the original cartoon, was like the only bending style where like it just comes from you. Like you just throw your fist out, fire comes out. Right? Everything else you need like the source. Like you need earth bending to bring up some rock. You need water to, water bend and stuff. And I guess air is all around us. But that was always one of my biggest pet peeves in the M. Night movie. Is just like they can't do fire bending without there being like a campfire or something, and they got to do all this stupid shit, and then it goes flying at you, and then the freaking earthbenders with the one little rock that just floats by. we did get to see some earthbending in that beginning flashback scene, and it was pretty cool. 10 times better than anything we saw in the movie. Okay, like in general, everything. There is nothing in this first episode alone that has not been better than everything in the first movie. That's just, I gotta say it, man. Like, my God, they messed that movie up so bad. We do get a little bit of water bending from Katara. And speaking of them, right, her and Sokka, everything with them, they had their own different changes. Like the Fire Nation ship wasn't, like a forbidden place that like she didn't want to go into, but Aang wanted to go into. They didn't do that stuff. Sokka knew about it. Because like in the original cartoon, he's like, you and your, water magic, superstition stuff or whatever. Like he didn't really buy into it that much. But in the show, he's like, yeah, I know you're a waterbender. You need to keep that on the down low because Fire Nation will come and take your ass. So that's different. That doesn't bother me as much. They find Aang differently. I'm looking at my notes here. It was a part of the thing where I remember in the weeks before this came out, the Sokka actor has said that they had basically toned down a lot of Sokka's like sexism that he had early on in the show, which was literally early on in the show. Like in rewatching it, I thought it was in it more. It's just the first 2 episodes or the first few episodes, like when he's first there with Katara and he's just like, you're a woman, you can't do anything right or whatever he was saying. That got her mad, and then she, caused the ice thing that Aang was in to crack. And then when he goes to the Kyoshi warriors, then but all you warriors are women? What? Like that was like within the first 3 episodes, and then he swiftly got past that once Suki, handed him his ass. But none of that is there. I believe the next episode will be the Kyoshi episode, so it'll be interesting to see if there's any traces of that still there. But that's not there. There's no moment where they learn that Appa can fly. Like there's a whole thing. He's like, he doesn't fly. What? No. The first time Sokka and Katara see Appa, he's flying in. So, little trivial things, I guess, in the long run, but things that stuck out to me. I think my biggest criticisms, though, so far of this first episode, number one, it's kind of exposition heavy at times. I feel like there's a scene where like Aang's just kind of trauma dumping on Appa, and I'm just like, I feel like you should have said this stuff to Monkey Yatsu so you can actually have like an actual person to be talking to back and forth. It just felt like, yeah, let's dump all this Aang exposition to show how much he's really messed up and frustrated about being the Avatar, right? And I think that goes along with the pacing, because again, this is only 8 episodes. It's an 8-episode show. And I believe the original was like 20 episodes. So they've condensed a lot, and the pacing, you kind of feel it. It's just like, okay, they're really moving. They're really, kind of moving here, even though it's an hour long, which means there's a lot to adapt and there's a lot to pack in while it's still an hour. And I really felt that in like the last 20 minutes is when they go to the it's like last 20 or 15 minutes is when they hit the eastern air temple. No, southern is the one he was from, where they go there and they find it all destroyed, and then they do the Avatar state stuff, which I understand why they would put that in there at the end, because they didn't do the moment where he falls into the water when he escapes Zuko, and he goes in the water, Avatar state, water tornado thing. They don't do that. They don't do that, and I was like, damn, they didn't do that. It's messed up. Like, I really want to see that. It's such a cool moment seeing it for the first time, but I guess they didn't want to do it back to back with the other Avatar state moment. They're just like, we got to pick one. We're gonna sacrifice the water one, as opposed, like, I guess it made more sense in their eyes to show the Avatar state as this like emotional thing, not necessarily showing us. I guess they did show us the survival nature of it, right? Because we learned in the cartoon that the Avatar state will like activate to protect the person, which is why they did the flashback, I guess, showing him running away, or not running away in this instance in the show, him falling in the water and then using it protectively to keep himself alive. So I guess they wanted to be like, okay, since we already showed that, we're already showing that, we don't need to show it again with the water tornado part, so we can just skip straight to he's mad, he's frustrated, he's emotional. That's another way to get into the Avatar state. I am slightly worried though with how fast it's moving, with it being 8 episodes, that I won't buy into the relationships between the characters as they're presented in this show. Obviously, I care about them in the original cartoon, but like as they are presenting them in this show, I am kind of worried I won't really buy into it. But we'll see. Again, just the first episode, we will see. But yeah, that was pretty much my criticism there of the entire episode. But other than that, like, I just really enjoyed it, seeing an adaptation that changes some things, but the spirit of it is still there, which was not existent in the M. Night Shyamalan movie. I mean, they couldn't even get the names right, for God's sakes. I just saw this in my notes. This is the last thing in the notes. The music is immaculate. The movie, they didn't use any of the music at all. In this, they clearly used the music, especially the Fire Nation music. The Fire Nation music, the dun 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 dun, like, it's always there, and I love it. I love hearing it every time. Just oh yes, and then the end credits, the infamous end credit music, which I wasn't even thinking about. Like, when the final scene happened and it went to black, I wasn't even thinking about it, and all of a sudden it hit the. I was like, it got me right there, man. Got me right in the heart. Overall, I will give this episode, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. It doesn't get a 10 because of the things that they change that I didn't like, and the pacing problems and whatnot, but it's a 9 out of 10 for me. Like, the spirit of it still is very much there, and hopefully, that continues with the rest of these episodes, man. So those are my thoughts. That's my review on Avatar: The Last Airbender episode 1 on Netflix. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.